My dear friends, I hope you are doing well. I have very distinct memories of I must have been 15 or 16 at the time, and I must have done something really terrible or was just in a terrible mood, or I don't know. I don't really know what it was, but I did something, and as a result, my father tore down my Kurt Cobain poster from my wall. And that image stands out in my mind, and I must have done something pretty terrible because my father was a generally gentle and forgiving person. And so for me to come to that place where my parents had to kind of make this stand, and they saw a correlation between the music that I was listening to and the things that were the spirit and the values that were being communicated through the music that I was listening to and the mood that I was in. And we know that to be the case. We know that the things that we expose ourselves to have an impact on who we are and what we're thinking about. Today to this day, I still do love Nirvana, and I'll if I'm flipping to the radio and I hear their song, one of their songs comes on, I'll listen to it, but it doesn't speak to me the way that it did when I was an angsty teenager. But this image kind of stands out for me, especially as I now have children who are not yet teenagers, but they're approaching that, and I wish they were listening to Nirvana, but instead they're listening to, this Old Town Road stuff and Drake and all that other nonsense that's on the radio. And look at me, this old fogey's saying these things, and this is the challenge, right? This is the challenge that we have, let's say, as modern Orthodox Jews, as human beings. How can we be in the world and be exposed to all the things in the world and pick it all up, but maintain our identity and not lose who we are in the vast ocean of things that exists, and as modern Orthodox Jews, we must be in the world. We're in the world. Again, that doesn't mean that we have to listen to Drake and Nirvana, but it does mean that we're going to be in the world. And as a result, our children who are going to be going to the schools like they go to, they're going to pick up this stuff. And so how do we give them, this is my real question, my question to you is, how do we give our children the tools to be in the world fully, to take it all in, but yet have that inner strength to maintain their identity? We have different models in our Parsha. In our Parsha, we, of course, first see the Sotah, which is, God forbid, it's a story of a man and a woman whose relationship falls apart, and the woman is suspected of adultery. And so that is someone who's in the world and lets the world get the better of them. But so too, immediately following that is the Nazir, the person who abstains from wine and from cutting their hair. And this is someone who we're told, comes after the Sotah because they saw the Sotah, they saw just what wine can do and what temptation can do if we give into it. And so they abstain, they pull themselves back from the world. And that's also a model of how to deal with it. Sometimes we need to abstain. And there are times where we say, you know what, there's no good. There's times we got to pull down the Nirvana posters from the wall. But the real challenge, and I think the real question, especially as parents and people in the world, is how do we find a healthy balance? How do we teach over balance? And it's going to become all the more necessary in the world that we live in today because culture is so much more immersive. We're surrounded by it at all moments, right? We take out our phones. It's constantly bombarding us with culture, right? And a lot of it is really not good and really not healthy. And it's so challenging for kids. And so that's the challenge. And I don't think I have the answers. Maybe I'm putting this out more as a tefillah, as a prayer, because immediately after the story of the Nazir, the Torah has the priestly blessings, the Birkat HaKohanim. And I would say the Birkat HaKohanim is all about that balance, right? It's a blessing for shalom, for peace. For peace is not the absence. You have two things that are at war. Peace is not where one thing destroys the other. Right? That's not what it's talking about. Peace is where those two elements, which in the past were in tension with one another, with each other, now they can coexist. I think that is our real task, our real goal. It's challenging. There's times in which we are going to make mistakes, hopefully not to the extent of the Sotah, but we make mistakes and we get carried away with the world. And there's times in life we have to step back. We have to pull down those posters. We got to say no to our kids. This is not good. This is not healthy. And hopefully through the ups and downs of life, we can bring ourselves to that place of shalom, of peace and of harmony. I believe deeply in modern orthodoxy, whatever that means, but in this idea of being in the world, having that core of Torah and halacha and spiritual practice and spiritual discipline, but being in the world and being worldly and understanding and being able to have conversations with people about everything and appreciating the world in all of its complexity and all of its beauty. I believe in that deeply. Yes, I have a strong urge at times to just, take my family and go live off the grid somewhere in the Northern Territories or New Mexico and just make our own energy and get our food from the land. I have that deep urge, but I know that that's not the path. I know that that's not my way. I know that that's not sustainable. It's really about being in this world. And so this is the bracha of the Kohanim, and this is the bracha of parents to children of one finding peace. And so I don't have the answers, and maybe you can share with me how you think we can best help our children and help ourselves find that balance. But I bless all of us with that peace, right? May Hashem bless us and show us who He is, and guard us and bless our children and guide them to that true peace, to true harmony, and to true connection. And let's learn together and grow together. And with that, I wish you a Shabbat Shalom.